All right, everyone, it is a new day, and we got some new Set 5 spoilers. We've got some actual cards to talk about, which yesterday we only had one, and the new article, we actually have 3 new cards. In fact, a new leader from Set 5, and I'm excited to dive into it. We are looking like we're starting to get into the season of sporadic spoilers, just like kind of a card here, a card there. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do a full video on it every single day, but well, I was just excited about it today. So I figure we'll talk about it today and then back to your regularly scheduled program for tomorrow. A big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. And let me just go ahead and dive straight in to our first card, Captain Enoch. This guy looks absolutely sweet. And well, his ability is already one of those cards from each trooper, or from the article yesterday, and this one refers to the each trooper unit in your discard pile. 3-cost ground unit in command villainy. It is a 1/5 Imperial Trooper, and he gets +1/+0 for each trooper unit in your discard pile. Very unique ability, to be honest. A 3-cost 1/5 is obviously horrible. That's like obviously horrible stats. But the goal here is to stack up a bunch of units in your discard pile. Now, Trooper is an extremely common tag. If this was like specifically Imperial Trooper or something, I would be a lot more worried. But in terms of Trooper, I mean, you have like a million of them. In Villainy, it's going to be a little bit less so. But I mean, like Bo-Katan works. You've got like the new First Order Stormtrooper is going to be an option. You've got Death Star Stormtrooper. You've got Fleet Lieutenant, or not Fleet Lieutenant. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking of the Rebel version. Snowtrooper Lieutenant. You've got all sorts of random cards like that. They're going to go into your discard pile throughout. Although, I will say, it's going to be a little bit trickier to have this guy be impressive on turn 2. So obviously, just playing out troopers and letting them die and getting +1/+0 isn't really that impressive. There's got to be some other way that you're really leveraging this. And even though troopers are super common, again, there's only so many 1-drop/2-drop units. So you really want to have somewhere where you like pick up cards from your deck or like discard a bunch or like filter through your deck, which maybe is something that could happen. Seeing Captain Enoch here from Thrawn from Thrawn's crew makes me kind of wonder, are we going to receive some sort of, well, in Magic we would call it graveyard deck, but are we going to see some sort of discard pile deck where we kind of drop, our troopers or whatever into the discard pile, we're able to revive them or something? Like that could be something, as it was very thematic for Ahsoka. I don't know. Maybe that is something that we'll be seeing with the trooper theme. We'll have Thrawn as the leader, and we'll be able to, maybe revive some troopers. I don't know. There's definitely a few things that can happen there. To be in this unit looks pretty mediocre right now, but that's just because we don't have any synergy for him, really. As I said, playing troopers and letting them die, I mean, you need 2 troopers to die before you get a 3/5, and that's not even that great. It's got to have 3 troopers to go into the discard pile for this to even be remotely something that I'm interested in. But we've got some other cards to talk about, including a brand new leader in Third Sister. Third Sister, guys, we've got an action to play a unit from your hand. It gains Hidden for this phase. It's an aggression villainy leader. For those of you that don't know what Hidden does, it means that it can't be attacked for this phase unless it has Sentinel. So kind of like a temporary, basically, well, hiding. Or in some case, like a reverse Sentinel, where you just can't hit it at all. This is a very interesting ability. We've seen it on the Anakin card already. That was like our first preview towards Hidden. I do think Hidden is extremely strong in the right case. And I do think it's even more strong when you consider some certain units that really, really don't want to be attacked for a period of time. Now, Third Sister is 5 to deploy, and she is a 5/4. So already is something that I'm like, okay, 5/4, pretty mediocre. We've talked about this with IG-88. However, she does have Hidden, and she's on attack. The next unit you play this phase gains Hidden. So Hidden is actually pretty important for Third Sister. Honestly, the units that are going to be readied up immediately makes Hidden way more valuable. This means that she can't just randomly die to a Kanan attack or a K2SO attack or a million other units that are going to have 4 power when she comes down. So that's nice. But Third Sister's still going to die to open fire, takedowns, etc. All the numerous amounts of things that can go ahead and take out Third Sister. So you really need to take advantage of Hidden, whether it's, actually taking advantage of the keyword and having some synergy there. I don't know if they're going to do anything with that, or having some sort of unit that really doesn't want to be attacked. Maybe it's a lot of power, lots of value when you attack with it, but it's hard to keep alive, similar to Third Sister. That's something that definitely is worth considering. Now, what's also important about this is a force unit. It is Imperial, it is Inquisitor. Inquisitor tag is looking to be relevant this set, and the force tag is obviously incredibly important in general. It is an aggression, which means you can run force throw. So those are all things working for Third Sister. Another thing about her is, even though open fire and takedown still, defeat her, she can't be attacked by units. Or when she deployed. So that means that force throw is a lot more likely to go off. So there's a lot of bonuses with Hidden, and there's a lot of things where the stat line is just kind of weak. If she was like a 5/5, I would be a little bit more excited, just because at least you can get rid of the open fire just completely defeating you. And a lot more units, even on the follow-up turn, are going to have less chance to defeat you. A 5/6 would be even better because you're at a takedown range. But of course, a 5/6 is a very aggressive stat line and probably a little bit too much. I think Hidden has a lot of potential uses. I'm more excited for the concept of it rather than the actual effectiveness of this now. If I look at Hidden right now, I don't really see a place in the game where I'm like, oh my gosh, this card, that ability is so broken. Now, I do think the flip for Third Sister is appealing just because, again, we want to get an attack in. But outside of that, well, I think Third Sister looks kind of, just okay. Maybe on the weaker side of things in the current moment. But we got another card to talk about in the final one of today, and that is a brand new Plo Koon 6-cost ground unit in Vigilance Heroism. It's a 6/6 or a 6/8 rather. By the way, this image, goosebumps, guys, goosebumps. And I remember the exact Clone Wars episode, but based on what I'm seeing here, this looks like the escape pod that Plo Koon and a bunch of clones were in, and this guy's on the outside of it, and he is trying to save some of the clone troopers and push them around to deal with all the battle droids that were trying to snack on their escape pod a little bit. But anyways, it reminds me of the simpler times, the Clone Wars times. This guy, Force Jedi Republic, while the Force is with you, which means while you have that Force token, you give this unit crit. That's it. Pretty straightforward, pretty interesting. I don't think it's particularly strong. So obviously 6 resource, 6/8, kind of an obnoxious stat line, pretty tanky, and has a good amount of power to actually dish out some damage. Of course, if you do end up getting a bunch of damage on Plo Koon, this thing becomes out of control real quick. Like real quick. Okay. A 6/8 with like 3 damage turning into a 9/5 is kind of ridiculous. Now, although that is the case, it is super unlikely for this to really pop off because, well, it doesn't do anything else besides just hit for a lot. There's no immediate thing that happens when you play him. There's no chance that, there's no guaranteed chance, I should say, that you're going to get a bunch of damage on him, so that he's going to become a really obnoxious unit. Obviously, it's a threat that your opponent kind of is forced to deal with just because he has a 6 power baseline, but it's not something that I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is exceptional. Especially when you consider like Luke, 1 more resource, very similar stat line, comes with Restore 3 and kills something on his way down. Like, obviously comparing it to one of the best units in Star Wars Unlimited is a little bit unfair to Plo Koon, but it's just something that I think about. When I'm getting to these 6 resource, 7 resource turns, I want something big. The best thing that Plo Koon has going for him is his stat line. He does have a really nice stat line. A 6/8 is pretty obnoxious. We oftentimes at this rate with Vigilance Heroism usually see a lot weaker stat lines, mostly because we're usually seeing Sentinel attached to them. But a 6/8 can do some work on its own. Even just the 6/8 does put Plo Koon a little bit above average for me, but I just don't know if he really pushes into that excellent tier to where you actually are putting Plo Koon in your deck, because you really can't be playing all that many 6 resource plays in your deck for the most part. So I don't know if Plo Koon really gets into the playable tier, but he is a lot more interesting just because of that stat line. And of course, the art makes me excited. But those are the 3 cards we saw today, guys. I am already extremely excited because baseline, the cards just look powerful. Like they look pretty powerful. We saw a couple of them that are like more synergistic with like Captain Enoch. Obviously doesn't look powerful at a glance. It's more about the potential of that card. But Plo Koon here, just an amazing stat line, really makes a lot more units way more playable when you just have good stat lines. The leader with hidden seems kind of interesting and can definitely, I mean, we haven't played with hidden yet, but I can see it being even better than before. With, you know, a bunch of other cards that similar like Sabine, right? When you comes down, you just can't attack it because it's exhausted at the current moment. So I could definitely see you not being able to interact with certain units with other units can be a very powerful ability. But I'm very curious to see what we're going to see next. I am obviously very excited about this. They're keeping it a little bit on the surface right now, I'll say. I like the Captain Enoch spoiler, giving us a little bit of Thrawn enjoyers, a little spoiler there, of course, for the Ahsoka series. We already see that there's probably going to be another Ahsoka. We know that the Plo Koon coming from the Clone Wars, a little bit of hint of Clone Wars in there. And then, of course, third sister from the Imperial time. So definitely all over the place in terms of timeline, but it's really focused on the legends of the Force. So not surprised that we're seeing a bunch of timelines, but nothing like Legends content or Cal Kestis, you know, Jedi Fallen Order, or nothing like High Republic or anything that I know people are exceptionally excited about. They're definitely waiting on those to give us a little bit more excitement later on. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.